This is the app for the Eufy SmartDrop. Keep in mind this is only going to be a part of what the Eufy app can do, as this is for the SmartDrop itself. Eufy app obviously does lots of different things. This is also after a recent redesign of the Eufy app. There are some things about that I don't particularly care for, but that is a video for another day. Let's take a look at right here, this device up here. This is my SmartDrop. You can see that now there is a battery indicator right here in the upper right hand corner, but also one in the lower left hand corner. My one complaint with that is that the battery icons do not match, in that, yes, I know that the battery for the Eufy SmartDrop has dropped considerably because I have been testing it for quite some time, and that big icon there kind of makes me think that, hey, it's still full, but that one down there is the correct one. You see the name of your device right there, SmartDrop, as well as the Wi-Fi status, which in this case it is connected, and that the box itself is closed. Over here on the right hand side there is a box with a number, in this case it is 0. That is to indicate any clips that the Eufy SmartDrop has taken. Your 3 dots here indicates the settings for this, we'll get into that in a moment. And then right down here we have our delivery with an image of the box, and then again a 0 indicating that there are no deliveries. Now in the previous app, before the upgrade, I did get a delivery in time to see that this icon will actually change, letting you know that there is a delivery in that box, and you have an icon there that changes to a 1. If you select that, what this does is bring us into the smart box itself. Here you see an image. That image will also show you a package if there has been anything in it. It is indicating the status of the box, so in this case it is currently closed. We can select our live view right from here, which I'll show you a little later, and then our delivery pin. So if we come in here, we have our individual delivery pins. These pins are randomly generated by the app itself. So if I come down and I add, and I say, and then next, I can select whether I want high security, where it'll be a 6-digit pin, medium security, or most convenient. Generally I go with the 5-digit and then select generate, and here you go, it generates a pin. Now this is the pin that you will add to the label of your address so that people will actually use it. If you put it in the special directions area, sometimes it'll get used, sometimes it won't. It depends on where you're getting it from. Normally I get a lot of things from Amazon, so I tested a lot with that, but I did try it with Walmart previously. Another thing with the pin, which is kind of nice, is if you have neighbors that are nice enough to take your package previously and hold on to it, well, you can give them their own pin to the box. So instead of waiting for a couple of days to see them to get your next review item, you simply give them the pin, they put it in, and you can check your box later. So that's nice. And obviously you can always come in here and change the pin, change the name, or copy the pin so that you can give it to somebody, or we can come right in here and delete it. And that is our pin section. So we're gonna go back. Down here you see our events. Right here you can see these are events from the other day when I was grabbing some video footage. It lets you know right there in the upper right hand corner that it is going to the cloud because I was testing the cloud service for this. You can also use the home base, which we'll show you a little later. Here you can see closed, open via master pin, and then me doing things overnight to get footage, and press button to open. It gives you running information about all of the actions that have happened with the SmartDrop. If we come up here, we have our settings, which are also accessible from our main page here, selecting our 3 dots, and then the settings icon there. Here are our settings. Here we see the actual battery status. You can see it's actually even a little lower than that little icon shows you, which again, I wish they kind of would make that a little more uniform and easier to understand. Here we have the name of my device. I just called it SmartDrop. You can change that to whatever you like. You can have your logo and watermarking for the video, which we'll show a little later. You have your open method. So right now I have it set with open via pin, which are those codes that you saw earlier. By default, it will start with the press to open, no pin required. So what I call that is easy mode. You pretty much just push the open button on the front and the lid will pop open. Keep in mind, it does need to be manually closed by the person. You also have auto switch, which is recommended. SmartDrop will switch to press to open when it is empty. So this is the one that I originally tried, which is somewhat secure, but not great if you have multiple packages coming. So what this will do is the delivery person pushes to open, puts the box in and closes it. The next person to come along pushes the open button, it will not open unless the master pin is put in to retrieve the item. So again, if you have multiple packages, this one's not going to be the best. Here we have our master pin, which will allow us to change and edit the master pin. I'm not going to show you that. We have our power management. Selecting here, we have delivery mode, which is the way that the battery lasts the longest. This will only trigger when somebody is actively typing in a pin or pressing the open button. Here we have delivery and guard mode, which is the mode I was using, which is going to use up the most battery. It's going to use the camera as almost like a sentry. So if somebody gets close to it, it will start recording as well. It's not super close and the angle of the camera makes me a little about using it like this, but for testing purposes, I was using it in delivery and guard mode. Here we have our motion recording mode. We have, if you're familiar with any Eufy products, you can have optimal battery life, optimal surveillance, or customize. And depending on what you need the recordings to do for you, you can come in here and change it to optimally fit your best needs. Here we have motion detection. You have your motion detection on or off, motion zone, which if we come in and turn that off, is very useful because, well, my next door neighbors here kept setting this off and having it prompt them to put a box in my SmartDrop. So I changed the detection zone so that it would no longer prompt them to put something in the box. We can add another zone if we wanted to, which is always good with Eufy. They allow you to have 2 zones with most of their products. So you can set up 2 specific areas to monitor if you wanted to. You have your detection sensitivity settings. I've left this on 3, and all of the notifications that you're going to see later are all based on that. You have detection type. I selected for human only, but you can have all motion if you wanted to. And then motion test mode, which will allow us to come in and actively test the motion. But you should be in front of the box when that happens. Coming back, we have video quality. I have it on auto, but you can have high, medium, and low depending on your bandwidth and storage needs. Audio settings right here. You have motion activated prompt, enable SmartDrop's motion activated voice prompt. So what that means is if I turn that on, somebody walks up to the box, it will say, use pin code or press open. You have microphone, audio recording, which enables audio when you're recording, and then speaker. So you have low, medium, and high. I've used it on medium and it's worked just fine. I was actually very surprised with the audio quality that you get from the SmartDrop here. And then we're gonna come down to storage. When I first set this up, they only had availability of cloud storage. However, now we have local storage where you can select a home base 2. We have our connection for our Wi-Fi, time settings, tutorials, installation guide, share device if you want, about this particular device, and share your thoughts about the device and the app itself. So those were all of our settings for the SmartDrop. Now let's actually take a look at what you're really here for, which is if I press the play button there, this is the live feed for my SmartDrop outside. Up here in the upper right hand corner, I can select this and it will make the image bigger. I have a large indicator icon right there letting me know whether the smart box is open or closed. I can select open right from the app if I wanted to. Here I can select record and it will record whatever it's seeing at this time. I can turn that off and it saves it to your album. Next we have our save photo, which looks like a pair of scissors. It's a little odd for that icon. Here we have our talk. So right now, anybody who happens to be in front of my SmartDrop is hearing whatever I'm saying. We can turn that off. Here we have our volume control. So if we wanted to mute any audio while we're visually looking through this, we can do that. Helps save on bandwidth. Here we actually have our bandwidth icon letting you know how many kilobytes or bytes of information are being transferred. Over here, this is actually our more settings. Selecting that brings up our extra menu. So here we get brought to our events area, which will show us any event that has happened. We have our night mode. So selecting this will automatically turn off night vision. And then I can tap it again to turn night vision back on. As you saw, it didn't automatically change it, but it will allow it to, once it gets dark enough, to change over to night vision. Here we have a warning siren. So we can actually set that up and you can hear that's going off outside right now. I can select stop and it'll take a minute, but there we go. It has stopped the alarm outside. And then we have our settings, which brings us to our settings, which we went over before. And really that's everything that you can do for SmartDrop from the Smart app. I did mention down here, there is the events area. So tapping on this you will see that there was a human detected and that I set the alarm off. If we wanted to, we can change the day and you can see all the recordings that I was doing before. Here we go. This is testing in the middle of a snow squall, and here we have download, share, donate, and delete this clip. And that's all from our events area. But that has been the Eufy app for the Eufy SmartDrop smart delivery bot.